I've always loved owls, but they're not the easiest bird to spot in the wild, especially since they're awake while I'm asleep. So I've decided to create one for myself that I can see at any time and that would happily hang on my wall day and night. Now the things you're going to need is some cardboard, a pair of scissors or a Stanley knife, twine and masking tape, some black marker, 3 paintbrushes, white paint, 2 other colours of your choice, a hole punch, a pencil and some sticks. So the first thing I'm going to do is prime my cardboard. I'm going to use white paint and my whitest brush, and that way when I put the colours on later, they come out more vibrant. So we're going to let it dry for 30 minutes, and we'll come back to it and ready for our next step. Okay, our paint is dry. The next step is to draw our owl. Grab your pencil, find the midpoint of the cardboard at the top, and drop down maybe 15 centimeters and mark it with a dot. Now to either side, we'll mark 2 other dots about 5 centimeters, and we'll connect these 2 at a meeting point, and that's going to be the beak. To the left of the top of the V, maybe around 10 or 15 centimeters, we're going to mark another point, and the same on the other side, and we'll connect those lines without connecting the one here in the center. Now owls have big eyes, don't they? So let's draw them. So we'll start on the left-hand side of the beak. We're going to draw half a circle. Now for the pupil of those eyes, another half circle. And then to the top right corner, we're going to draw a full circle, and that's going to be the reflection of the owl's eyes. Now we're going to do the same thing, just on the right-hand side. Now for the crown of the owl's head. Starting on the left-hand side, at that end point, curve up, kind of like an upside-down U, come back down, and then draw a straight line across, stopping at the right-hand side of the right eye. So we go back up and do an upside-down U. We'll do the same shape again, just up a little bit higher, and there we go, our owl has some hair. We should complete the eyes. So another half circle, just coming down and up there, and another on the other side just here. Now it's time to draw our body. I'm going to do a big U shape, starting from the left-hand side of the eye, going down and coming back onto the right-hand side. Now it's time to draw our tail. We're going to start on the bottom left-hand side. I'm going to go out a little bit, and then using this curve of the body, I'm going to repeat that down as a guide and come back up. Now for some feathers. We're going to start on the left-hand side, go down and come back up. We continue the feathers on the right-hand side. We'll do 2 half U shapes. Now remember, this is just my idea of what the feathers should look like. So if you have a different one, that's completely fine. I'm going to mirror these feathers on the left-hand side. Now with owls, the cool thing with drawing them is they're symmetrical. So when you do one side, you can pretty much do the same thing on the other. We can repeat them 3 more times going down and making them smaller. That gives the illusion of the body tapering in. And if you're making any mistakes as you go along, remember, you're using pencil, you can always rub them out and start again. There's no real right and wrong in your drawing. Now for the feathers of the tail, I'm going to use the points where those U shapes meet as guides. So this point here is going to come down as a line. This point here is going to come down here, and so on. And for the tips of the feathers, because I want my owl to be colourful later on, I'm going to do some more shapes. So I'm going to draw a line about 1 centimetre from the base of the tail, going across. Now I'm going to draw the wings of the owls. So I'm going to have mine around this big here. And as a guide, I'm going to start from the left hand of the top eye there. I'm going to draw a point, probably the same line as the crown there. And we'll join those lines by a line that goes up slightly. And I'm going to do another flick going up. And I'm going to come back down and meet the bottom right-hand side. Beautiful, that's one wing done. Let's do the next one. Again, using those same guides, starting from the top of the eye, going up, stopping at the same point as the crown, flicking up, and then coming back down and connecting it to the bottom of the eye. Okay, now we've finished drawing our owl. Later in the show, I'll show you how to colour it in and cut it out to end up with this fabulous work of art.
Hey, I'm Sandra, and I'm an artist here at Get Arty. I like to do crafts, and I also like to recycle different objects so that I can make some piece of artwork from that. I also really like to paint, and I've got to tell you though, I'm not that great at painting, but you know what they say, practice makes perfect. I do a lot of music, so I can sing, I can also play the flute and play a bit of piano. Tie-dyeing is an awesome way of coloring your own fabric, and today I'm going to show you how to tie-dye by using natural products. But before we get tie-dyeing, we first have to soften our fabric. So I'm going to use a cotton canvas fabric and then add 2 cups of vinegar and then 6 cups of water. Okay, so make sure that you get an adult to do this for you for this step. We're just going to let this boil on the stove for an hour. All right, so now it's time for tie-dyeing. So what you'll need is your pre-softened fabric. I'll be using a cotton canvas bag, but you can use a cotton t-shirt or a singlet, anything you like. Turmeric, a pot of water, some scissors, and some rubber bands. Okay, let's get started. I've just pulled out a small section, and I'm just going to tie my rubber band around that. You just want to make it really nice and tight. Okay, so the dye doesn't go through that. Let's do one more. So now we just have to repeat that process and keep going until you've covered all the fabric. Okay, so I'm going to bind this fabric peak maybe 3 times, but you can bind it as many times as you want, depending on how large your fabric is. Okay, so now I'm just going to set this aside and make our turmeric dye. You add 3/4 of a cup of turmeric into 10 cups of water. So now, with the help of an adult, bring this to the boil for about 10 minutes and then let it simmer for 45 minutes. Or alternatively, you could let it soak overnight. Okay, so this has been simmering for 45 minutes, but I've let it cool. So now I'm going to take it out and we're going to rinse it. Okay. So now that I've rinsed it, I'm going to then click off the rubber bands. So as you can see, the fabric where the rubber band was hasn't been dyed, but the surrounding fabric has been colored. And now for the final rinse. I'm just gonna wring it out. So now that it's rinsed, I'm going to hang it up to dry. All right, so it's nice and dry. This is how you tie-dye, and they make great library bags. Do you believe in ghosts? No, me neither. But I do have a friend who believes in them. So I'm gonna draw him a spooky, slimy green ghost just to scare him. So here's what you need to draw one for yourself. A piece of paper, an eraser, a pencil, a pen, and a green pencil. We'll start by drawing the basic shape in pencil. So first you're gonna draw half a circle up the top of your page. Just go down at the edges like a big bell. Next, we're gonna do some arms. So about halfway down the body, you wanna curve half a circle down and up. And then follow that line again, just over the top of it. And then at the end of that, curve up and then down, kind of like a half circle that's the reverse of that arm. And then do the same on the other side. Next, we'll do the eyes. So starting with oval shapes, we'll do a left eye and then a right eye.
And the same shape for the mouth, but at the bottom, it's going to have a sort of a straight line, so it's more of an arch shape. Cool, now we're ready to go into some pen. So get your black marker, and we'll start by tracing over the top of the head, just from the top of the arm to the other. And now we'll do the top of the right arm, trace that exactly how you've already drawn it. And now we'll do the same on the other side. Now we've done that part, we're going to do the slime. So the whole way along the bottom of the arm there, you just want to make these sort of droplet shapes that follow the general shape. Now you can do a few of these at a time, and then if you need to, you can take your pen off the page and move it to be able to do some more. Slimy, slimy slime. And you want to do some that are a bit longer, some that are a bit shorter. All right, now for the eyes. So you want to outline the top of the eyes just the way you already have them in pencil, and same on the other side. But then down the bottom, we're going to add some more drips, just like we did underneath the arms. Same thing for the mouth. You're going to go over the outline up and around, just in that arch shape, and then at the bottom, some more droplets. Now we're going to take a line down from the bottom of each arm to the bottom of the ghost body, and that's just going to be straight. And then once you get to the bottom, we won't do drips, but we'll do sort of a wobbly line along the bottom. Like that. And the final thing you want to do with your pen is add some little droplets throughout the body, just so it looks really slimy. Ooh. And don't forget a few lines just down the bottom for the ground. Slime Ghost needs to stand on something. Now it's time to erase, so just make sure that your pen is dry first and then go for it. Ghost for it. Doesn't really work, it's no joke. Perfect. Now we've erased, it's time to color. So grab yourself a green pencil and press hard on the page. Cover everything with a solid green, except for the eyes and the mouth. Is this color green or lime? No, I think it's more of a slime. And there you have it, your very own ghost. And I think that's exactly what a ghost would look like, if I believed in them. But let's ask my friend. Hey, Nathan.
Yeah.
After the break, dream of a life as a painter? Find out what it's really like.
I am a painter and drawer, and I study at the University of New South Wales Art and Design. So when I create a mural, I always start off with a grid and sketch up the drawing. Everything gets measured down to the centimetre, and then I come in with the painting process. You have to know your maths because you're scaling things up to such a large scale. So if you get something wrong, the end result can be not what you expected. The longest time I've ever spent on a painting has been 18 months. It was a process of about 45 layers of glazes on a painting, and each layer has to dry. I think what people tend to assume is that it's very quiet and insular and you sit down. When I paint, it's incredibly active. I have to go to the gym regularly in order to keep my shoulders strong enough so I can actually maintain that energy through a day of painting. Just recently I did a mural where I had to do the whole thing on a ladder, and it was a 5-metre tall ladder, and I was running up and down, you know, all day. After 7 days of that, I was very, very tired. I really love drawing faces because you can actually relate to people. You get a lot of a person's personality through their face. You get to know a person quite well through that process. Older people are better because they've got wonderful wrinkles that you can really get into and get their character through all those kind of nuances in their faces. I actually started off when I was younger as a dancer, and I spent a lot of time doing that. When I was in my teens, I got quite sick, so I couldn't do dancing anymore. I started drawing and found that I loved drawing bodies and drawing people. Don't be scared of the blank page, because it's always a little bit scary, but just start drawing and keep drawing. My name's Yvonne, and I'm a painter and drawer and other things. So
Earlier I showed you how to draw an owl, and now let's get arty and paint it. I've chosen two colours, yellow and blue. And now before I start painting, I'm going to plan it out with some dots. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start with the middle feather here. I'm going to dot it with blue, and I'm going to skip a feather and dot the next one in blue. Again, it's completely up to you how you want to design your owl. This is the way I'm going to do it for now. So I don't want two feathers of the same colour next to each other. That's why I'm spacing them out. No two feathers are the same. Now all the other empty spaces, I'm going to dot with yellow, which will be a lot quicker. Fantastic. See what I mean? How you've got a colour guide to help you fill in your owl. And now let's paint it in. Don't use too much paint, because it'll take longer to dry. And just use the pencil as an outline, yeah? Now, if you paint outside the lines of the feather, that's okay. It'll be a bit of a fluffier feather, yeah? You can also change your brush if it's getting too thick at the bottom for a thinner one. You can do some longer brush strokes for the wings. That way you can cover it a lot quicker. So now once you've done your first colour, it's time to start with your second. I'm using my yellow. I'm going to colour in my beak first. I'm using a wider brush, that way you can cover the area a lot faster. Now don't worry if your colours mix in together. Later on, I'm going to cover it with some black marker. Okay, there we have it. The last bit of colour's done. Now for the white paint, for the eyes of the owl. So I'm going to paint in these areas with white. I'm going to leave the other circles so I can paint them in with black marker later on. Now all the painting's done. It's time to let it dry for about 30 minutes. Awesome. Our paint is dry. Now it's time to outline our owl. I've chosen 3 different markers, or the different tips. That way I can use them on different areas where I like. First point we start with is the beak. And you can start seeing the owl take shape. So there's some parts where the paint's gone over the line. You can choose a thicker marker. That way you can cover it completely. Now continue outlining the face of the owl using your markers, following the pencil lines you drew at the start. A couple of thin lines will give your owl nostrils. And now the eyes. Don't forget the reflective circles for the pupils. And now to fill those in, probably choose your thickest marker, that way it won't take as long. Fantastic, our owl has some big eyes, you can see. Now let's continue on with our feathers. Just follow the pencil outline and watch this simple sheet of cardboard transform into an owl before your eyes. Make sure to outline the bottom of the eyes and the eyelids too. For a bit more detail in the eyes, I'm just going to draw some little lines going around. Again, using my thinnest marker. And be sure to outline the crown and the wings. Fantastic, our owl is done. Now it's time to cut it out. I'm going to use scissors, but you can also use a Stanley knife if your cardboard is too thick. And remember, these are both quite sharp, so be careful when using them, and always having a dot around. So I'm going to start cutting mine along the tail. Cutting out your owl can take some time, but be patient. This owl is going to be worth it. Okay, so we've cut it out. The outline is done. Now it's time to get our hole punch and go along the wingspan. So we'll move maybe about 1 centimetre across. And we'll continue that until we reach the end. Just 2 more holes, one on either side of the elbow joints, and that's going to be used to hang up our owl and the twine later on. Now grab your twine, we're going to start tying some lengths for the wings of the owl. I'm using 2 knots to make sure it doesn't loosen up later on. And the length really is up to you, but I want to do some longer ones today, about say 5 centimetres below the tail. I'm going to use that same measurement along the entire wingspan on both sides. So we have our wings. Just one last bit of twine for the 2 elbow joints, and we're going to use this length to hang our owl up. One last thing, if you flip over your owl and find a stick, it's a little bit longer than the wingspan, we're going to attach it to the back to support it. That way the wings won't bend when we hang it up. So all we have to do is line the stick up behind, grab your masking tape, just tape it down. The stick's a little bit long. I'm just going to hold down here and just snap off the edge. And there you have it. Our owl is complete.